over the course of 11 seasons, MASH became a cultural touchstone. It wasn't just a show people watched, it was a show people lived with. It accompanied families through the tumultuous 70s and early 80s, a period marked by the aftermath of Vietnam, political upheaval, and shifting social values. Its influence was profound, and nowhere was that more apparent than on the night of its final episode. On February 28, 1983, more than 100 million people tuned in to watch the series finale, an audience size unheard of in today's fragmented media landscape. That episode remains the most watched installment of any scripted series in television history. And there was Loretta Swit, standing at the center of it all, her performance as memorable and moving as ever. But Swit's contributions to entertainment didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling on MASH. She continued to work in television and theater, appearing in guest roles and taking the stage in live productions that further showcased her versatility. Beyond her acting, she became an advocate for causes close to her heart, especially animal rights. A devout animal lover, she used her platform to speak out against animal cruelty and promote humane treatment. Her activism was not a publicity stunt, it was an extension of her deeply held beliefs, a reflection of the compassion she brought to every aspect of her life. Despite her fame, Swit remained remarkably grounded. Colleagues often spoke of her warmth, her humor, and her unrelenting professionalism. She carried herself with a quiet dignity that earned her the respect not only of her peers but of the generations of actors who came after her. In interviews, she was reflective and articulate, never taking her success for granted, always acknowledging the collective effort behind any great artistic endeavor. She knew that she had been part of something special, and she carried that legacy with pride and humility. The loss of Loretta Swit is not just the loss of an actress, it is the loss of a storyteller, a trailblazer, and a woman whose work helped reshape the landscape of American television. In a time when TV was often dismissed as lowbrow or unserious, she helped elevate it into an art form capable of tackling real issues and exploring the human condition. Her portrayal of Margaret Houlihan made people laugh, made them think, and made them feel. It challenged assumptions and opened doors, not just for female characters, but for a more honest and nuanced portrayal of life in all its contradictions. As the world reflects on her passing, it is impossible not to think about the millions of people who grew up watching MASH in living rooms across America. For them, Loretta Swit was more than just an actress, she was a part of the family. Her voice, her expressions, her strength, they became embedded in our collective memory. Her legacy is not confined to reruns or award statues, it lives on in the hearts of those she moved, inspired, and entertained. Even now, as we grapple with the sadness of her loss, we are reminded of the power of performance, the way a single role, played with authenticity and heart, can leave an indelible mark. Loretta Swit may be gone, but Major Houlihan remains. She lives on in every episode, in every quote, in every fan who was touched by her story. And in that way, Loretta Swit has achieved something truly extraordinary, she has become timeless. Let us remember her not only for what she did but for who she was. A woman of integrity, passion, and talent who showed the world that strength and sensitivity can exist in the same breath. A woman who brought truth to fiction and light to dark places. A woman who, even in a fictional war zone, helped us all understand what it means to care, to lead, and to persevere. Loretta Swit's life was a testament to the enduring power of art, and her passing marks the end of an era. But as long as stories are told, as long as there are screens to flicker and hearts to be moved, her spirit will never truly be gone. The television world is in mourning following the passing of a true icon, Loretta Swit, the indomitable actress who brought Major Margaret "Hot Lips" Houlihan to life in the legendary television series MASH, known for her commanding presence, sharp wit, and unmistakable voice. Loretta Swit became more than just a fixture on one of the most celebrated shows in TV history. She became a symbol of strength, resilience, and complexity in a time when female characters on television were too often boxed into narrow stereotypes. Her death, announced by her publicist, has sent waves of sadness across generations of fans and industry professionals alike. Swit passed away peacefully at her home in New York City at the age of 87, with early indications suggesting that she died of natural causes. Born into a world that would change dramatically over the span of her life and career, Loretta Swit entered show business during an era when the entertainment industry was still finding its footing in how it portrayed women. With a drive as fierce as the character she would one day become famous for, Swit carved out a name for herself in both television and theater. Before she ever stepped onto the set of MASH, she had already shown herself to be a performer of considerable range and depth. Appearing in beloved series like Hawaii Five-0, Gunsmoke, Mission Impossible, and in Mannix, she honed her craft in front of cameras that would come to adore her presence. But it was MASH that would forever solidify her place in the pantheon of television greatness. Premiering in 1972, MASH was more than just a comedy, it was a bold experiment in storytelling that blended humor with the raw realities of war, compassion with chaos, and friendship with fear. Set during the Korean War, the show followed the staff of a mobile army surgical hospital, hence the acronym MASH, as they navigated the surreal and often horrifying day-to-day of operating in a war zone. What made the show stand out, however, was its ability to take the audience from tears of laughter to tears of sorrow in the span of a single episode. At the heart of this delicate balance was Loretta Swit's portrayal of Major Houlihan, a role that demanded emotional complexity, precise comedic timing, and above all, authenticity. Major Margaret Houlihan, nicknamed Hot Lips, was initially introduced to audiences as a no-nonsense, by-the-book head nurse with a fiery temper and a reputation for discipline. But under Swit's careful, layered performance, the character evolved over the course of the series' 11-year run. What began as a caricature slowly transformed into one of the most multifaceted women on television at the time. Swit didn't just play the part, she infused Margaret with her own humanity, revealing a woman who was vulnerable, compassionate, and striving for respect in a male-dominated environment. Her nuanced portrayal broke new ground for female characters in television, and it earned her critical acclaim, including 2 Emmy Awards. Her chemistry with co-stars Alan Alda, Mike Farrell, McLean Stevenson, and others created a dynamic ensemble that resonated deeply with audiences. Alda and Swit, in particular, shared a kind of on-screen synergy that elevated every scene they were in. They weren't just co-workers playing their parts, they were friends, comrades in a larger narrative about survival, morality, and the absurdity of war. Together, they carried the emotional weight of a show that dared to critique the military-industrial complex and the trauma of combat, all while making viewers laugh. That balancing act, between comedy and commentary, is what made MASH so groundbreaking, and Loretta Swit was a critical pillar of that achievement. Swit's commitment to her role went far beyond memorizing lines or hitting her marks. She immersed herself in the world of her character, often consulting with real nurses and medical professionals to better understand the emotional toll and the technical precision required of those in wartime medicine. Her dedication was palpable, and it showed in every frame. Whether she was barking orders in the operating room or breaking down in a rare moment of vulnerability, Swit made you believe in Margaret Houlihan, not just as a fictional figure, but as a real woman doing her best under impossible circumstances.